All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining in today. If you saw our message earlier this week, I said we have a very special guest, and this guest would be my wife, who does not like to do these, so be kind. But here she is. Her name is Angie. And Hillary is also here as well. So you're going to get all three of us to fire questions at. And so fire away. Hillary just got back from another vacation.
I did. I was in Mexico and I just got back, and so we are a little disheveled over here, but I'm ready to go. And it's actually the weather here is actually surprisingly not bad. It feels good to be back, and it's kind of nice out and looks pretty. We got a blue sky today, so it's all good.
I'm sure it's the same weather as you just came from.
Yeah, a little cooler.
And then Angie here is, a little concerned and nervous about being in front of everyone. So feel free to ask any questions of her. She's the big boss. She knows she's forgotten more than I know. So if you have any good Montana questions, she's actually one of the very few people that has been born and raised right here in Whitefish. And she can tell you all the stories from back in the day.
Rocky Mountain guy wrote, "The wife is here." That's very exciting.
That is correct. So I was asking Angie to come up with some topics to discuss before we get into the questions, before we went live, and she didn't. She was like, "Why are you putting this on me? This is your deal." But she did have a good idea. So I don't know if anyone's planning on coming up here this summer, but they kind of changed the glacier reservations for this summer. So if Andrew, would like to discuss the new thing.
Yeah, I guess how it worked is at the beginning of this month, we hopped on the Glacier Park site, and you bought the tickets for the whole, you could buy it for the whole month. So July has already been, I'm assuming, sold out. So I'm not sure what the release date is for August, but if you'll be here in August, make sure you watch that date, because they give you the one day to hop on there and buy your tickets for the day or the week or whatever you're trying to do. So it has definitely changed.
Yeah, I think that they sold out. I think I read it was like in 7 minutes or something. But yeah, I don't know. And I actually got kind of lucky and managed to get most, but it was definitely a pain. I don't know. That's weird. And then they're still doing the release where they release them 24 hours in advance, right? So, I mean, there's still last minute chance for people to hop on, but yeah, they're making it kind of difficult.
Yeah. And then you can go in after 4 o'clock, I believe it is. Yeah, both Will and I got online and were logged in, had our credit card, information in there, and that certainly seemed to help. And we kind of just said, okay, you're going to go for, the 1st, the 5th, the 10th, that type of thing. And, my dates, I had my dates, but for some reason my computer connected. And so he, would yell at me, oh, I don't have the 1st, or I don't have, whatever date. And I was able to get a couple that he wasn't. Tom says, I've got friends coming to see Glacier in June. Does this mean they won't be able to visit the park? They'll be able to go into, well,
I think they're still going to sell, from what I understand, is the day before you can get on there and get them. But if you don't get them, period, you can go after, is it 4 o'clock or before 6 o'clock? Last year, you couldn't do the before 6 because they're working on the road, but I think they're done with that.
Yeah, so they'll be able to get on. I do think it's 24 hours in advance. And that's actually what I ended up doing last year, Tom, and I had really good luck with it. So, I mean, I don't know. It seems to be different every year. So want to say that's how it'll be this year, but I got on every day almost last year, and it wasn't like I was up at the crack like right at 8. I could get on at like 8:45 and still get tickets. So it might be different this year since they released them all at once. So there might be a lot more people trying to hop on, but they'll still have a chance to get tickets. And then another thing worth noting, I think, is just a reminder that June in Montana is not like June everywhere else. And so going to the Sun Road won't be completely open at that time because they're still going to be removing a ton of snow. So, I mean, obviously it's still worth going into the park and you can still get in and there are things worth doing. But I just think that's a good heads up to people before they show up and think they're going to get to, drive all the way through. And it's like, oh, there's still a ton of snow. Great.
Yeah. And I do think that, getting up a couple times, we did get up there early, before 6 o'clock, just because they're again parking at the top is just so crazy anymore that, if you're an early riser, get up and go. And at least then you can get a parking spot up at the top of going to the Sun and do those hikes if you have any desire.
Yeah.
And I just Googled, the earliest it's ever opened, and this was just a quick Google search, was June 27th for full opening, going to the Sun, going up and over. So, Tom, if your friends are here earlier than that, they're not going to be able, it'll probably only be open to Avalanche, early in mid-June.
That's a good time to ride your bike up there.
Yeah.
That is a very good point. It is a great time to ride your bike. But yeah, I'm dealing with that because my wedding's on June 10th. So I've got a million people texting me like, what should we hike? And it's like, you guys.
Oh, you're getting married?
All right.
I know we even received the invitation this past week.
Yay!
If people don't know, there's going to be a bigger event here than probably a presidential inauguration come June. So I'm guessing that every hotel in Western Montana will be booked up for that week. So
the hotels are booked. It's crazy. We don't have a lot of room. But anyway, Games Tech 101 says, thanks for all the videos you put here. It's helped a lot. In May, I will be heading to Western Montana and would like to know if I should be looking for rent before work or work before rent. Thanks. And I think that I would say rent.
Yeah, it's still, even though the rental properties are they're building more, they're finishing more, I still think that that's going to be the biggest issue. Getting a job will not be an issue, but finding a place to live up here will be, unfortunately. So,
and again, we've gotten a lot of questions about people looking for rentals and asking for our help. And unfortunately, we kind of have as much information as you guys do. And there's not just one website that shows everything for rent. You kind of have to go to all the different like Zillow, Realtor, check all those. But then we also have a lot of property management companies that rent out properties. And so you kind of have to go through and see what they have available. And we do have a list of all of those. If you want to send us an email, we'll be happy to pass that on to you. But yeah, it's just not as easy as looking at one site and seeing everything that's available. So you're going to have to do a little bit of research, but we will help in any way we can.
There you go.
Real quick, back to Hillary's and her wedding and the hotels and everything being booked. Yeah, if you are planning on visiting, I would suggest your hotels. And if you want to eat dinner, at any of the places, we went out, sat last night.
We'd like to eat.
Right. If you want to eat, make your reservation now, because it's just, even last night, we got online and it was 5:15 or 9:30.
It's insane.
It is
It
insane.
does get so busy though. And I think people think that we're like kidding. I've been telling people, again, not to make this the wedding show, but I kept telling people, make your reservations. Like when you get the save the date, it gets very busy. You're going to need to like have this prepared. And of course, now I'm getting texts from people like, oh, we just went to book the hotel and it's all filled. And I mean, it's like, we're being serious. It fills up really quick. So definitely plan ahead.
The wedding show. So maybe we should do a live feed of the wedding. Maybe everyone would like to join in on that.
Well, they will if you're doing it.
Well, we don't know that yet because of our daughter.
Yeah, his daughter also has a large life milestone and will be graduating from college, but I want him to marry me. So we're sort of fighting over him at this point.
Well, I did just book us tickets home on that Saturday morning. I know.
We're cutting it pretty close. Anyway, nobody wants to hear about it.
All right. Sorry, guys.
Here's one that I want to chime in about. Why you need a permit to vlog in national parks for YouTube. That is the greatest question of all time, and I am with you. That's the dumbest. I'm annoyed because I was going to do a whole bunch of videos this summer in the park, but you can't just go up there and shoot videos anymore and put it on YouTube. It's illegal. You have to have a permit that takes 30 days, and it's like $130, and they don't even have to. They didn't even have to give it to you. So yeah, this is one of my hot button irritation issues that, yeah, if anybody's on here that can give a good answer to why they just came up with this, obviously it's a new way for them to make extra money, but it's stupid because, I mean, I understand the original concept was that they didn't want, the cast of Yellowstone showing up and shutting down going to the Sun Road so they could film a scene. But, one guy with a tripod and a phone shooting a YouTube video shouldn't be in the same category as that.
Is that a new rule or has that been around? Oh.
Well, they passed it a while ago and then it went to court and they overturned it for a couple years. And then just last October, they put it back in. And it's basically if you're doing a commercial video, which not everybody, even if you're like, if you start a YouTube channel tomorrow, you don't get paid, but because there's advertisements on it, it's a commercial thing, even though you're not making any money. So yeah, it's dumb. It's another government overreach that, yeah. Anyway, sorry. I saw that question and it pushed a button. So here's one for Angie. So for those of you that don't know, Angie, I've talked about her on this before, but now that she's here in real life, she actually grew up in the park. Her dad was a park ranger in Glacier Park, and so she's
legit
the whole park over and over. So here's a question that you can address.
Are you planning on doing a video on the various public lands? Is that what you're talking about, Will?
Yeah.
Okay. What can you do and not do on each type of land? Hunt, fish, camp, snowmobile, etc. Well, public lands, I think you can do all of those different things. National parks, you can't. I think national parks, I know that you can snowmobile in Yellowstone, but I think that different like snowmobiling companies have the permit for, doing the snowmobiling in Yellowstone, just like Glacier, the helicopter and airplane companies. Mm-hmm. But I don't think as a private citizen, I mean, you could, if you had your private pilot's license, you could fly over the park, but you couldn't take other people, I guess would be the difference. But yeah, hunting, you can't hunt in a national park, but public land you can. National parks, you probably, I know you need permits to even backpack in overnight camp in the backcountry. You need permits in the national parks now.
That's another thing they just added, that you have to get in advance as well and reserve a spot.
Yeah, and I think that I mean, and I know that the few that they have. Well, I haven't backpacked in the park for quite some time, but the last time, we got up at like 4 o'clock in the morning to stand in line so that we could get the backcountry permit that we wanted. And that was probably, I don't know, when did I do that with Lisa and Hallie? That was probably 8, 9 years ago.
Oh, when you went up to Gunsight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So even then it was, hard to, you had to be on top of it and plan ahead. And if you didn't, then you were standing there in line at 4 o'clock in the morning.
All right. Here's a question for you as well. Are you guys oh, go ahead.
Are you guys seeing lenders asking or mandating longer escrow closing periods, or is 30 days still the standard? I had a realtor in Idaho tell me lenders are asking for longer closings. I have not experienced, I don't know.
I don't know why. I mean, in our area, if someone is obtaining financing, it can be between a 30 and 45-day escrow is fairly standard for our area, but I don't, but then there are lenders that can certainly do it in 30 days. So I don't know if it's, I don't know why Idaho would be all that different than our area.
I don't know. I just thought I'd throw that up for you. And here's another one for your knowledge base.
Change the subject slightly. Would you talk about water rights and mineral surface and below surface when it comes to buying land in Montana? Well, yes, in Montana, everybody has a water right. I mean, if you have a well, then you have a water right, and somebody that has the right from say 1902, and then you go and drill a well, and their well goes dry, then they have the right to the water before you do. In our area, mineral rights, we don't see a lot of that here in the Flathead Valley, mostly just over in eastern Montana, Butte and eastern Montana, with the oil and different minerals like the Butte area, the copper mining, all that type of thing. So yes, it is a thing in Montana, and yeah, and water rights in Montana have been up in the air just because of, the natives and, that issue. And so, but they've kind of figured it out, I think. And, yeah, water rights are definitely something to consider when purchasing a property in our area.
We've kind of talked about this a few times on here. You see, when you get your title report, you'll see mineral rights in this area, but they're from 1870 or, way back. And then everybody kind of freaks out that there's going to be an oil rig in their backyard. And these companies are long gone, but because it's on the public records, it stays there forever, I guess, because there's no one left from that company to get rid of it.
We do see timber. I suppose that's another one in the different logging companies that had rights to certain properties. Like you were just saying, well, you'll see some of that come up on, a title search, but the company hasn't been in existence since, the 50s, 70s, 80s, that type of thing. So you'll see some of that as well.
Yep. All right, here's one from Brian. What are builders quoting per square foot for a basic home build nowadays?
Well, I've heard anywhere from, basic, from 350 to 500, kind of depending on when you say basic, what exactly does that mean?
I know that's always the question.
Yeah.
People always ask, well, what is how much is 5 acres? Well, my video, here's a little sneak peek, my video that's coming out on Tuesday. I'm going to talk about land values and mistakes people make when buying land up here. But just in my research, I found just within 5 miles of one another, I found a 0.17 acre lot listed for 149,000, and 5 miles away, I found a 0.17 acre lot listed for 1.1 million. So
Gosh.
that's why when people ask us, oh, how much is 5 acres, 2 acres, 1 acre, it's impossible to answer because there's such a wide variety of.
And I feel like people sometimes get a little frustrated, like, just give me a ballpark. Like, I know it's not going to be exact, just like, and it's like, no, you don't, there is no ballpark. There are way too many, variables.
There you go, Hillary. Here's a test for you.
So when a listing is sold, that means that the deal is done, it's closed, the sale is final. When contingent and pending, basically, if you're looking for something online and it says contingent or pending, it essentially means the same thing. It means it's under contract and it is pending.
See, this is where I need the buzzer. I need a buzzer.
Well, that's a good question, though, because I still get confused on the difference between contingent and pending.
Well, then we'll let our managing broker chime in here.
A little bit further along, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, you're on the right track, Hillary. Pending just means that all contingencies have been released in our MLS, that you're just waiting for it to close, maybe waiting for lending to be finalized, but they've released all of those contingencies. So that's what pending is. It's just all contingencies have been released.
So basically, if you are looking at something and you wanted to put in a backup offer, that would be on a property that's contingent. It's under contract, but it hasn't gone through all of those. It hasn't met all of its contingencies yet. But when it's pending, they've gone through that. They're just waiting for the closing date. So at that point, it's too late for a backup offer.
All right. Here's a guy from Germany.
Hello.
Or I shouldn't say a guy, Lola. Greetings from Germany. Is there any housing market in the Amish communities in Lincoln Lake County? I know that I've never been there. Have you, Angie, have you been up to like what do they call it? The West Kootenai up there where that Amish community is? And you can still buy land in those areas. I don't know if they have like their own little one spot but I know in that area, there's definitely places for sale.
Well, you had a house up there a long time ago that then didn't it burn or something?
Yeah, well, we were supposed to go up. Yeah, I never ended up going up there. I don't remember the exact story. That was a long time ago. But I've never been across that bridge across the reservoir, so I've never been up there. Let's see. Here's another one for Angie.
How would you compare Whitefish Valley versus Bitterroot Valley? Weather, price of land, and homes, political environment, medical / hospitals, etc. The Bitterroot Valley definitely sees the sun, and they're always 2 to 3 weeks ahead of us, especially Whitefish. Weather-wise, spring-wise, today it's beautiful here, but we still have quite a bit of snow and ice on the roads, and I'm guessing down in the Bitterroot, they're probably 2 to 3 weeks ahead of us, and most of their snow is probably gone and all of their ice, and it's probably maybe 10 degrees warmer would be my guess. Um, again, price of land and homes, just like in our area, the Bitterroot, kind of depends on, are you along a river? Are you, is it 1 acre versus 5 acres? Or are you just looking for a lot in town? So it's going to, the price of land and homes in the Bitterroot Valley is going to vary widely. But they're fairly comparable to us.
I was gonna say it's still very like desirable in a competitive market like we are here. It's not like you can go there and everything's a lot cheaper or something like that. It's not
exactly.
a drastic change.
And the Bitterroot Valley with Missoula being so much closer and the college, so it's a pretty sought after area.
Well, and you guys are forgetting the main reason everyone wants to go to the Bitterroot Valley.
Why?
Oh,
Yellowstone?
there you go.
Oh.
Everyone else on this live knows the
Okay,
answer, but you
that
guys.
is not even accurate because I don't even think that there's that much thought being put into it. When people want to come here because of Yellowstone, I think they just want to get to Montana. That's like the joke, because that they don't realize where it's located or anything.
Okay.
Medical hospitals, they're closer to Missoula, which is a little bit bigger than our area. So, pretty good. I would certainly think, or have to say, pretty good medical in that area as well.
Yeah, they got the big. Is there 2 or 3 hospitals in Missoula? I know there's the big one.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either.
But yeah, like Hillary said, I think it's pretty similar as far as pricing and everything. And like Angie said, it is a tad warmer down there, and a little less snow, but it's not like you can go golfing down there in January. So you don't get out of winter altogether down there. Here's one from SR. Has the state of construction changed much in the last year or so? Also, is there still a real lack of subs, plumbers, electricians in your area that's dragging out completion dates for new construction? Yes, I know that every time you drive around, there's help wanted signs. Angie's brother actually works in the construction business, and they're always looking for people. So yeah, there's definitely still a need for people up here. But again, like we talked about earlier, it's the housing is the issue, and if somebody ever comes up with the answer for that, they will be highly revered.
Yeah, I would say that it's definitely improved just from personal experience trying to get people to my house to get stuff done. I mean, it's like night and day difference. A year ago, I would call and I mean, you couldn't get a call back. And I mean, there was like no communication. And so now that's improving a little bit. But like Will said, I think we're definitely still in need of people and things are still going as smoothly as they could.
Yeah. Well, for Angie and I, we, what was it? 3 years ago, we started trying to get our house painted, and we couldn't even get anybody to show up to even give us a bid.
Oh yeah, no.
And then finally last year, we got a guy, and we actually got our house painted.
But we also did a bathroom renovation that took, I mean, and they keep in mind, these bathrooms are tiny. They're, both of them together even wouldn't be considered a large bathroom. And finally, a year later, they're complete. But I mean, it took forever. And it was just, like you were saying, Hillary, getting people to show up and
Yeah.
it was, oh, well, we'll see you on Tuesday. And then you receive the text, oh, well, we can't make it this week. We'll see it in 2 weeks or a month. I mean, getting the guy to come back and finish the little edges down at the bottom for, tile work, literally August, and he finished just in probably end of January.
Yeah. So and even we're still trying to get a couple things done. We're trying to do something to our bathroom, and it's so much better than it was a year ago when you just literally couldn't get somebody on the phone. But yeah, just talking to like my parents, for example, in Omaha, Nebraska. I mean, they just don't have that issue. They can call and it's done in a day, and it's just we're not there yet here.
Okay, you guys have some fans.
Oh gosh, yeah, Angie is really beautiful, and I am pretty tan. It feels really good, I gotta say. I needed it.
Yeah, and I'm a little jealous.
I've been wanting to move for about 6 years ago before the show was released. Yellowstone has not been, let's just say, very kind to my plans, hence why I'm still looking. I know. Yeah, it is really kind of impressive how much of an impact Yellowstone has had. But
There you go, Hillary. Answer this and then sing one.
favorite songs about Montana?
There's a tear in my beer. I don't know.
That's a good question. I don't know. Not off the
Trina,
top of my head, but we should make a Montana playlist.
Yeah.
If someone
Yeah.
asked you what is the best time and place to visit Montana, what would you recommend?
July through
Yeah.
September.
What about the best place, Will?
The best place?
Yeah.
Well, I think I have yet to see a place prettier in the lower 48 states than Mini Glacier on the east side of Glacier Park, but that's just me. I'm sure people would argue about that, but that place is awesome. So I just drove by it the other day. It wasn't so awesome. I went up to Calgary for a hockey game last weekend, and coming back, it was brutal. Blizzard, whiteout, roads weren't plowed, drifting. It probably wasn't the smartest time to be driving to Calgary, but
Yikes.
when
But
there's
hockey called.
what's that?
Hockey called.
Correct.
The
Oh, and
Minnesota Wild in Calgary.
by the way, speaking of hockey, our broadcast here, I apologize, is going to have to end at 5:45 because I have a hockey game.
Oh, are you reffing or are you playing? Or are you watching?
I'm playing.
Wow.
So, all right, here's another question. Isn't the Montana State Legislature meeting now? Any big surprises? In fact, not that we should go into politics here, but let's just say it's a good thing they only meet once every 2 years, because there's a couple of, I don't know if you guys follow the papers around here. Some of the things that some people are trying to pass are just like the craziest things I've ever seen in my life. And I'm not going to get into it, but oh my God. Like I said, it's a good thing they only meet once every 2 years. I guess the founders of Montana had a good plan when they came up with that. Let's see. With the modern technology of underground horizontal drilling, is it possible to have a landlocked piece of land for electricity? Landlocked piece of land. That is a very good question. I'm sure it is, but I've never heard of that. Maybe Angie would know this. This is a very good question. I've never thought of that. Don't the power companies kind of, because they're tied to the government? I mean, can't you get an easement to get something that was landlocked power to it? But I don't know. That's a weird one.
Yeah, and I'm not sure that, I mean, unless it was a private sale, like a title company would never insure the title commitment or give you title insurance if you didn't have access to the land. So is it possible to have a landlocked piece of land for electricity?
Well, obviously, like with modern technology for sure, you can drill. They do power lines under the roads, under rivers, under whatever. So they could definitely get it there, but I don't know if you'd have to go to that extent because of what Angie was just saying.
And it seems like the electric company would still want the easement. They would have an easement across somebody else's property to get to the landlocked piece. But again, I get what you're saying. I just don't know that would actually happen.
The reason we're stumbling around with this is because, like Angie said, you don't see many landlocked pieces of land because, like she said, the title company won't even insure it. What else we got here? What are some good news websites that would be good to follow to know more about what's going on in Montana? I just read, I just look at the different newspapers around the state and they all have websites. The local one here in our valley is the Daily Interlake. There's the Missoulian down in Missoula. There's the Great Falls Tribune, the Billings Gazette. Am I missing anything? I'm sure there's one down in Hamilton. Yeah, I just kind of look around. I'm kind of a news junkie, so I have all of them bookmarked on my computer, and when I get up in the morning, that's what I look at. Let's see.
They also have newsletters, so I get them in my email.
There you go.
But does he really have his front teeth?
I was waiting for you guys to chime in on that. My front teeth are actually fake. So there's your answer.
The question was, Will, I'm surprised you play so much hockey and still have your front teeth. And he's pretty lucky that he has, your left eye?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ew, what happened to your eye? I don't know about that.
He took a hockey stick to the eye.
Yes, it's good to wear a cage when you play hockey, I learned, instead of not. And Angie, my caring and concerned wife, said, what did you say that night? The glass eye trick at parties is only fun for so long.
Right. It's only fun game that the glass eye is only, good for party tricks for some time, and then you're just left with, one eye.
Yeah, at the end of the day.
Yeah, you invest, that $15 in a cage.
Yeah, well, so I'm not a total idiot. The reason I didn't have a cage on to begin with is because I also ref hockey. So I only had one helmet. And when you ref, you just have the shield across your eyes, basically. But, it comes out a little bit. That's how the stick got under it. But you had to have that to blow your whistle when you're reffing. So I just wore it to play hockey as well. And then after that incident, I went out and bought another helmet that has a cage. So we're all good.
So 8 stitches later.
Thank you for your concern. Yeah, that was a close one. Well, another interesting, now that we're on the hockey subject, the doctor that night in the emergency room, I was telling him exactly how it happened. And it was a 1 in a million thing. And you could do the same exact play a million times, it wouldn't happen. But the doctor had a very good comeback. I told him, I'm like, yeah, doc, it was just it's kind of a 1 in a million play. And he's like, yeah. He goes, with you hockey players, I've seen a lot of 1 in a million things. So
yeah.
So anyway,
all right. River Rafter wants to know, how hard will it be to find a campsite at the end of July, planning a trip to Northwest Montana? I guess my question would be, where are you thinking campsite? There are many campsites.
If you're trying to get in the park, you're going to have to get a reservation. It sounds like for everywhere now, right?
Yeah, every entrance there's a separate one, which is the other. Yeah.
Well, no, even even if you have the car entrance pass, you also have to get you can't just show up and find a campsite anymore either, it sounds like.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you.
Still need your park pass too. You need to, you either buy that 7-day pass, or if you're, you have your annual pass. So yeah.
Yeah, so the park is going to be tricky. I'm going to be trying to get campsites too. I mean, you'll have luck. I had good luck last year just going through and refreshing, and you'll get cancellations and stuff, and you can try to snag them. But if you can't get a campsite in the park, there are campsites around the park. I mean, there's a million places to camp, and they'll all be fine.
And there are some pretty areas, like if you go in between Whitefish and the Canadian border up towards Eureka, all up in that Whitefish range. And, there's some beautiful lakes up there. There are some beautiful camping areas. There are some lookouts. I mean, you do need, permits or, reservation for most of those lookouts, but we've done that a few different times, and they're kind of cool and fun to camp at.
Yeah, they really are.
So this, so many regulations and permits sounds annoying. It is when you're in the park. I guess we should clarify that when you're not in Glacier National Park, you can just go show up. There's a lot of Forest Service land. What else? I mean, like
there's so much. Like, it is not just the park. There, if you want to come and I mean, you don't have to go to the park to do like really incredible wow hikes and find cool. The hippie town with bakery stuff. What is that?
That would be Polbridge.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's where we got married, in the big town of Polbridge.
But along Flathead River, like Blankenship Bridge, you can just camp along the river, and you don't, well, yeah.
I think you can. Yeah.
Didn't they change that because it got out of hand with Rona?
Yeah.
I thought we went there last year, and I thought you could just drive. I don't know. Yeah, there's a million places to explore. You'll be able to find camping spots, no problem. Then, if you're not,
and you can bring your dog into like Apgar and stuff, can't you?
Oh yeah. Yep.
You just can't bring him on the trails.
You just can't hike with your dog
in the Glacier National Park.
Correct. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, there's another hike that if you're, if you don't mind heights like I do, we've done it. When I say we, I mean Angie has done it numerous times, to the Mount Aeneas. It's just on the east side of the valley here. I've made it to almost to the top a lot of times, but I've only made it to the top once because there's a couple of sections of the trail that are a little sketchy.
And even then, did you really make it all the way to the top?
I did. I have photo evidence. And you guys beat on me the whole time I was up there and called me mean, nasty names.
See, you guys, this is why we need Angie on this show, because the things that Will tells you, we just need her here to.
It was. I looked at it as encouragement.
Yes, that's total encouragement. Speaking of that, it's about that time. Can you guys are more than happy to stay on here.
I don't think I have access to put up questions or anything. Hold on, let me get out of full screen. I don't know. Are we missing any? Does anybody have last minute questions? Because I can't.
Well, yeah, I gotta go. So I guess if you can't do that, here's the last one. Is the rule to protect the dog or to protect the wildlife? That would be both, and to protect you, because what happens is your dog will go chase the bear, and the bear will turn around and realize that why am I running from a dog? And then your dog will run back to you with the bear in tow, and then you're screwed. And
I
that's
do
how
have
the
to say
story
that
ends.
the park service this week or the last couple of weeks in there, I don't know if it's Instagram, but one of their suggestions was not so much of a dog, but don't push the slowest person down. They had some good suggestions the last
Their
couple.
Twitter has just been top notch lately. I like crack up at everything they say.
All right. Well, that's it. We got to go. Thanks for tuning in. And maybe if you guys are all nice and leave good comments, Angie might agree to come back, in the next year sometime. So anyway, thank you. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, please do. If you want a link to our MLS, send us an email, and we'll see you guys all in a couple weeks. Bye-bye.
Yay.
Bye.
Bye, guys.